Any questions for our guys tonight?
So after how last season went, with you guys having to play so many minutes, what's it like to have this group of newcomers who can sub in now?
It's a little bit refreshing, and it's a lot less pressure on your mind, knowing you could play freely and maybe go for that extra steal that might become a foul because you have a sub.
It's just real comfortable thing, knowing you can go out there, play until you can tire yourself out, get a sub, and come back in with full energy. You know, last year we had to kind of conserve ourselves and not play as fast as we wanted to, or just different things like that. It lets us speed the game up more for ourselves.
Was there something ORU was doing to maybe stall the offense out or anything like that in the second half?
You know, credits to them and what they did in their game plan, but really we kind of had a lot of self-inflicted wounds. You know, I don't want to discredit them at all, but it's a lot of things that we did ourselves that, you know, that changed it from a 14-point game instead of going up 20, you know, only being up 6. You know, it's different things. We had mental breakdowns that we just got to fix up ourselves. But they definitely did have a good scheme and a good game plan and a really good coach.
What do you take from this you need to go work on and fix?
Say that one more time.
What do you take from this to go fix?
I got to watch the film. You know, it's fresh out the game, so I don't want to speak out of turn. And, you know, so just got to go back and watch the film tomorrow with the coaches and the team.
What did you think of the young guys tonight, too, either one of you?
I think they all were ready to play when their name was called. Simple.
Isaac, before I ask about his block shots, has he been in rhythm blocking shots in practice? Because that was like mid-season form.
I mean, yours going to block shots beginning of the season, middle season. I mean, if that's what he does, that's what he does, you know. And in practice, you know, since it's not him playing as much in practice as he does in the game, but he definitely does get blocks in practice too, for sure. So, you know, we all know he's going to come over here tonight and defend us on the help side.
Talk about your night. Eight block shots, a good way to start everything.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, 8 block shots is a good way to start your season.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's a great way to start my season. I was just trying to block everything at the rim. That's my job, protect the rim every game.
You guys had to, you know, win the game at the free throw line and being able to hit those free throws down the stretch. What does that say about just the mental focus that you guys have put into this point?
I mean, we was in those situations all last year, you know. So last year we lost a lot of games due to 1 or 2 plays. And, you know, the 5 guys that was in at the end was the guys that was in at the end of games last year. So, you know, we just trying to find different ways to make those changes that actually gets us a result of winning instead of just losing, you know. So last year I felt like all the mistakes and experience that we got as a whole, these 5 guys that was in at the end, we just learned from it. And so we was able to capitalize off this win tonight.
We also shoot free throws every day in practice and after practice as well, so that helped.
You guys can't get specific, but did you notice a different atmosphere tonight? There's some chants. The last 24 hours have been kind of crazy for you guys. What's all that been like?
I mean, it seems like everybody's more excited than ever this year for the basketball team. And, you know, it feels great to know we have that support. And that's really the fans. You know, we work hard, but every time we come out here, you know, diving on those loose balls and doing all the extra stuff, we do it for the fans and so they can get excited. And we really want to win this year and bring back the winning culture.
I love the crowd. That's really how I get going. The crowd gives me a lot of energy, and it showed tonight.
You're only 2 blocks. Or did you know you're only 2 blocks away from a triple-double late in the game? Did you know that at all?
I had no idea. I was just playing.
Isaac, you guys were kind of at your best last year whenever you were able to get out and run. I think there were 50 total fouls tonight. How much does that affect the offense, having to slow down and go through offensive sets like that?
I mean, you talking about towards the end of the game, how we had to execute plays and stuff?
Yeah, like you guys were at your best last year whenever you could get out and run. There's 50 total fouls tonight. Does that affect kind of how you guys work offensively?
I mean, it definitely does affect us, but I mean, you know, Coach Boynton, he trains us for up-tempo games and, you know, slow games. So, you know, towards the end when we had to execute down the stretch and just get things right, you know, I felt like we really executed what we wanted to execute, you know, a couple turnovers here and there. But, you know, Coach Boynton and the staff, they prepare us for any situations, I feel like.
Isaac, what did you think of how Avery Anderson played?
To me, Avery played real good, you know. I didn't expect him to do spectacular, you know. It's his first college game, but one thing about practicing against Avery every day, I know he can flat out just go. Like, you know, once he gets to feeling it and he gets comfortable, Avery's going to be amazing to watch in GIA. And he's going to have games where he looks like the best player in the country, and he's going to have games where, you know, he's struggling. But that's, you know, freshman struggles that we all have been through. And I know he's going to get in the gym, he's going to build on this, and he's going to be even better every time he steps on the floor.
There's one set that Coach Boynton ran where you're out there with Avery. Is that comfortable for you being at the 2?
I mean, Coach, it's kind of hard because, you know, Coach Boynton, how they put the practice teams, you know, me and Avery's always going against each other most of the time. You know, every day we're going against each other. So, you know, whenever we get in the game and we're on the court together, it's kind of weird because, like, you know, we don't practice on the court together. They sometimes put us together in practice, but, you know, not as much kind of as we need to. But at the same time, it's kind of benefiting us because either one of us that get the ball, you know, we can really push it and run the one. So it's just to speed up the game. That's their intention whenever they put both of us in there, is to really speed up the game.
And with Avery, it seems like he's going 100 miles an hour all the time. Do you kind of, as an experienced player now, do you kind of have to remind him to sometimes slow down and take it easy?
Yeah, you know, same things I had, like same struggles I had whenever I came here as a freshman at first. You know, I just wanted to play one pace, one speed. I didn't understand when I need to execute plays, when I need to push in transition. And it's just freshman struggles, you know. And point guard really is one of the hardest positions to come to college and really adapt to. And so, you know, he's going to watch film and he's going to just keep working hard and he's going to get everything right and he's going to be just great.
Anything else, y'all?
You had 8 blocks.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
First, I'm going to give credit to Oral Roberts. They got a really good team, I think. I'm not going to say where I think they'll get picked in the league because I don't know their conference that well. But, yeah, I could see them being very competitive no matter, you know, what the competition level is. They've got good depth, good size. They got some shooters. And Coach Mills has done a good job of kind of establishing an identity. But I'll say this about our team. We lost this game last year. Similarly, in terms of going to a place, getting a big lead, not being able to hold on, and not making plays down the stretch to win. So we obviously are making progress. We still have a ways to go in terms of sustaining our competitive focus, I would call it. I mean, I think we obviously show flashes at times that we can be, you know, pretty electric in transition and execute pretty well, but we just aren't doing it consistently. And we're still trying to find out the true rotation as it'll evolve over the next couple weeks.
Rotation, was it important for you to kind of get everybody in? I think you used your whole bench within the first 10 minutes. Was that important for you to get everybody in there?
Yeah, these type games, I like to at least I like to get everybody in the first half. I think just my former player self, if you don't play in the first half, it's really hard to stay engaged. And then if you need it in the second half, if some situation comes up, you may not be where you need to be mentally. So in a game like this, try to get everybody in for a little while in the first half. But, yeah, that substitution pattern kind of throws off your rhythm, so to speak, from an offensive and defensive standpoint. In the second half, I was less aggressive in terms of substituting and let that first group play for quite a while before we subbed, and you saw the difference. And then, obviously, those guys finished the game as well.
What do you think of the way you closed? You know, they got back within one, and you closed strong.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we made some really good plays. And I just told our team this. I'm sure our fans won't love to see us play these possession games, right, over the next 2 months. But I want as many of these, if we're going to win them for sure, right, as we can have before the calendar turns, because it's very rare that you see teams run away from teams once the conference starts. So I want to see these competitive battles. I want to have these situations come up that we can learn from now that maybe pay dividends for us once we start playing teams in the Big 12.
Isaac kind of said what you said there at the beginning when he came in here, and that he goes, you know, we drew on some of the things that happened last year late in the game because, you know, we've been through that. And he said especially that core of guys has been through it playing tired because they were playing so many minutes.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, look at the stat sheet, and Lindy and Ice are the only ones really in the 30-minute range. Man, that's pretty good. It's about where you want those two guys, probably the most veteran ball handlers, especially if the game is close and you got to make some plays late. But everybody else is underneath that pretty good. And so you get a chance to kind of stretch out the durability over the course of the season. And so having some experience with those guys last year made me feel more comfortable that I didn't have to burn a bunch of timeouts early, was able to save them and use them a little more judiciously late in the game. And I was able to kind of get a feel from them on what they were seeing on the court, because those guys as a group at 5 that we start are pretty good about kind of getting things back together amongst themselves.
Over the past few years, your teams have usually been at their best when they're able to get out and run in transition. I imagine the 50 total fouls didn't really play into you guys' strengths today.
It didn't. It kind of put the game at a funky pace. You know, there was a lot of stoppages. And the first thing that happened, we had way too many turnovers, uncharacteristic of Lindy. He's certainly like a 2-to-1 assist turnover kind of guy. He had 6 turnovers today. Cam never really got in a rhythm offensively, but I'm proud that he showed that he could still impact the game. You get double digits without making a basket. That's a guy knowing that, I got to find a way to impact it in another way. So kudos to him, because that's not what he would have done prior. He would have still tried to hunt more shots and may have wound up in a 0 for 12 type of night and not gone to the free throw line and not got rebounds and all that stuff. So, the fouls were definitely a problem in terms of the pace of the game, but we made them late. And so I was really proud for us to step up and make free throws.
Speaking of impact, eight block shots. It was an impact.
Yeah. I mean, he's a game changer. He's certainly a luxury to have in there, because sometimes you're going to have breakdowns on the defensive end. So to have a guy there who can, if nothing else, make the other team think twice about how aggressive they're going to drive to the basket, how much they're going to try to throw the ball inside, it's a huge, huge bonus for us.
Involvement was pretty high tonight, especially in the student section. How do you feel that played into the result tonight?
That was awesome. I mean, I think they lifted our players a lot. I caught a couple of our freshmen kind of looking around. I'm not sure they've ever experienced that type of environment. But it was good. We need that every game. We need our fans to continue to show up and give us a chance to make this program move forward. I've said it before, I think this building has a life, and it starts with our student section, and then it bleeds into the rest of the crowd. So kudos to them. But I thought we had a great crowd overall for a rainy Wednesday night. Not a high level and in terms of anticipation matchup. So thanks to our fans for showing up the way they did.
You can't get specific, obviously, but what has the last 24 hours been like? We've seen videos on Twitter. We've seen the way the fans reacted tonight. What has that been like?
It's been 3 years for me, guys. Like, it's good to see that it's turning. All right, we started this thing kind of very cautiously optimistic, right? It wasn't a whole lot of high expectations that we could do anything positive here. The fan base was very skeptical, to say the least, about the prospects of what this program will look like under our leadership. But to see after 2.5 going on 3 years of just putting our heads down and working, it certainly feels good to start seeing some of those things that you envisioned come to light.
You used to line up with Lindy at the point with Thomas and Keelan. What were you looking for out of that group?
Ice actually bumped knees with somebody, and Avery had just come out. He's our third ball handler. I thought Avery was really good. I thought he changed the game with his defensive ball pressure early in the first half. Really wore their point guards down. He kind of got outside of himself when he fouled late in the half. It's a freshman mistake, but I love the way he played. But at that time, I couldn't play him. He had just come out of the game, and Ice had bumped knees. So Lindy's somebody we're very, very comfortable with having the ball in his hands. He's usually much better in terms of taking care of it than he was tonight. But it also gives us more size and shooting throughout the lineup, because neither Ice or Avery are great shooters. When you move Lindy there, now you got somebody whose teams definitely have to guard as a primary ball handler.
2 threes at the beginning of the game. That's something that you probably wouldn't have done last year. Was that nice to see, especially with the one go down?
Yeah, he's really conscious about his jump shot, and in a good way. He wants to improve it. He wants to work at it, and the USA basketball experience kind of stunted his growth in that area this summer. But it was really, really important for us to allow him to do that because you just don't have those opportunities all the time. But he's continued to work on it since he's been back, and as his confidence grows in it, maybe he'll take 1 a game or 2 a game to keep teams honest, because if they have to guard him and now he's got an opportunity to drive against usually guys 2 or 3 inches smaller than him, usually 15, 20 pounds lighter than him, he's a load to try to handle as a point guard.
You mentioned Keelan the nerves kind of got to him last Friday. Was it nice to see a couple shots of his go down? Yeah,
it was good. I mean, I think that's kind of, again, part of the early season. We haven't had a game where 3 of our freshmen have all played well at the same time, right? We had Hedy and Caleb both play well. Neither one of them were great tonight. Leading up to the scrimmage, Keelan was really good. He wasn't great last Friday. He was better. Avery did some things defensively. Chris brings some things intangibly that help, but he didn't make shots. So I think until those guys get comfortable and they get in a comfortable rhythm of when they're going to be playing and who they're going to be on the court with, you'll see more consistency out of them.
Is that what Keelan's role is going to be coming off the bench? Hit a couple threes, give some versatility. I mean, he does a lot of things well, but that's kind of what he was doing tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a really, really high skill package. He can shoot, obviously, as you saw. He's got great length, so his defensive presence brings some versatility to our lineup. We can switch more because he can guard 1s, 2s, and 3s. He got a little bit caught up in some ball screen coverages tonight where we had some breakdowns because he's just not completely comfortable with where the guys are coming from on the floor. But his role is going to be primarily a 3-and-D guy, but also he's a really good rebounder for a guy his size. He sticks his nose in there and gets offensive rebounds. He got fouled a couple times. And I think that really got him going offensively was making an effort play.
Caleb, he wasn't able to produce a whole lot offensively, but, just watching him specifically, high motor guy from start to finish whenever he was on the court.
Yeah, he was really, really good in terms of his aggressiveness. Still got a little ways to go, just strength, man. Sometimes he gets caught in the paint, and unfortunately, there's not a whole lot anybody can do for him if he's guarding a guy who weighs 60 pounds more than him underneath the basket. So just got to continue to work on trying to have our perimeter guys help try to keep the ball out of there and then maybe bring us some help if it does. But if it gets too deep, it probably doesn't matter.
Anything else, y'all? Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.